8 Worst Indy 500 Pace Cars of All Time. Editor's note: not a lot has changed since we first ran this story in USA Today in 2015. The pace cars have been perfectly respectable Chevrolet Camaros and Corvette Stingrays. But as this story points out, in some years, the choices have been far more questionable. Indianapolis, throughout nearly a century of races, many beautiful pace cars, and 2 pace trucks, have led drivers around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway before the start of the Indy 500. In 2012, a 638-horsepower Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 ushered drivers. Ford's iconic 1964 1/2 Mustang served pace car duties in 1964. The orphan brand DeSoto provided a Fireflite convertible in 1956. All 3 cars, either powerful, beautiful, or both. So now let's point out the cars listed above include offerings from each of the big 3. Yes, this is going to be a subjective list. There's no way it can't be. But, I'm not biased toward any manufacturer, just certain cars being where they shouldn't be. With today's running of the Indianapolis 500, here are the 8 worst Indianapolis 500 pace cars, starting with the absolute worst, 2003, Chevrolet SSR. Even a commercial directed by Michael Bay couldn't garner sales for this ugly monstrosity. It's a convertible pickup truck built on a Chevy Trailblazer EXT platform. And it's not a car. But, it's not the worst non-car to be an Indy 500 pace car. 2001, Oldsmobile Bravada. This is the worst non-car to pace the race. It was the early 2000s. GM was rebadging every car they could with different brands to sell it to various demos. The idea to stop production of the Oldsmobile brand came just 2 days after the Bravada was released. It would be the brand's last new model. A pace car should be a car. 1991, almost the Dodge Stealth. The Dodge Stealth was all set to be the pace car in 1991. But, under those Dodge badges lies a Mitsubishi GTO, or 3000 GT as it was known in the US. The and many others didn't like the idea of an import pacing the Indy 500. That said, Chrysler pulled the Stealth and replaced it with the yet-to-be-released Viper RT/10. The Stealth/3000 GT was a great car with several technical innovations and 320 horsepower from a twin-turbo V6. Later models would have 4-wheel steering and adjustable exhaust. It was a great car. It was a car I loved as a teenager. It's a car I'd still love to own. But, I get it. The Indy 500 pace car should be an American car. And I actually agree with that. 1984, Pontiac Fiero. The Fiero was the first 4-cylinder pace car since the 1912 Stutz. And that's fine. Lotus has proven in the past that a 4-banger can be good. This engine was not good. And the production version was actually good for 140 less horsepower than the pace car. And they liked to throw rods and catch fire. So, there's that. 1986, Chevrolet Corvette. It's a Corvette that churned out as much horsepower as a 4-cylinder Chrysler LeBaron pace car did the following year. Let's just move on. 1990, Chevrolet Beretta. A convertible version of a Chevy Beretta seems like a great idea. This popular car, that seemed to go unchanged for its life, probably would have sold really well with a soft top. But, this one-off had so many issues it was never offered for sale to the public. 1987, Chrysler LeBaron. It pains me to put this on the list. I have owned 2 LeBarons and loved both. I have owned a car with Chrysler's 2.2 turbo engine and enjoyed finding more power in it until I'd ultimately blow a head gasket. Even after being touched by automotive god Carroll Shelby, this LeBaron still looks like the car I'd take on leisurely drives along the Rock River to see the leaves changing each fall. I like it. But I'm outnumbered. 1985, Oldsmobile Calais. The actual car used for the parade and race was a convertible version. Like the Beretta, it was never sold. My high school girlfriend had a Calais. Good memories. But a bad, boring 80s car.